Here begins the stories of two people, an old man and a woman with great sadness. Eli was a priest at Shiloh. He worked as a priest in the house of God. He took turns with other priests to take the daily sacrifices and offer them before the Lord. His job meant that he should keep all the laws of God, honour and obey him with all his heart, his mind and his strength, and be an example to the people of Israel. His father and his father's father, even his grandfather's father, had done this job and so on. But he had one big problem. His sons were wicked. They didn't honour the Lord or even care about him at all. They would steal from the offerings people brought to the Lord. They broke the 10 Commandments. They were not a good example to the people of Israel. People would often come to Eli and tell him all of the evil things that their sons had done. It made Eli so sad to hear they were sinning against the Lord. Where had Eli gone wrong as a father? Could he have done something differently to help them follow God's ways? It seemed, no matter how much he prayed about it, God was silent. Hannah too was sad. She was married to Elkanah. Elkanah had 2 wives, and that made her very sad. But what made her the saddest of all was her empty arms. Elkanah's other wife had lots of children. Hannah had none. She really wanted a baby of her own. Her heart felt empty. What made it even worse was being teased about having no children. Every year, she would go up to the temple with her husband to take the yearly sacrifices. And every year, God would seem silent. And every year, Elkanah's other wife would make fun of her. She would return home each year, and still no child would be born into her waiting arms. It seemed no matter how long she waited, God was silent. After many years of these visits to the temple, these two people's worlds collided.
What is that woman doing? How dare she come into this house drunk? What are you doing, drinking in this house? This is the house of God. Take your wine away. Get it out of my sight.
That's not true, sir. I'm a woman of much sadness. I have not been drinking wine nor beer, but I have been telling the Lord all my troubles. Please do not think I'm a wicked woman. I have been praying for the Lord, for I am very sad. My pain is so great.
The Lord has seen and heard. Go in peace, and may God give you what you have asked of him.
May I find grace in thy sight.
A few years later, Hannah returned to the temple with the boy, the son God had given her, whom she named Samuel, because it means the Lord heard.
Sir, do you remember me? I'm the woman who stood here with you several years ago praying to the Lord. I prayed that the Lord will give me this child, as the Lord is giving me what I've asked him for. Now I am giving him to the Lord. As long as he lives, he will serve the Lord.
May God be praised. He has answered your prayer and mine.
In the midst of silence, God was at work. Hannah had a son, the first of 6 children, and now Eli would have a faithful priest who would serve the Lord after him.